So I talk to people, I see how they do certain things. Um, I notice, and I notice their invitations. I can see what they're doing with the prospect, how they're guiding that individual to come look at the information, what the invitation looks like. And all of the things that I'm going to talk to you about tonight is really strictly for team building. It's not necessarily attached to customer base. Okay. So we're really just talking about sponsoring, helping people see what we have, giving them the information, pointing them to the information, and knowing what our role is. And the most important thing, and I learned this even from the very beginning. So I'll bring some of that old school stuff together with some of the things I've learned just recently, or just kind of came back to me, is that um, one of the most important things that you can learn in this business, and we say that this is truly one of the, I almost want to say it's like a law with this company, and the law, there are certain things that are law, and and we have rules, right? And these are rules you cannot bend. There are certain rules you can bend and certain rules you can break. You cannot, first of all, you can't break this rule and you can't bend this rule. And the rule is this: you have to get yourself out of the way. And I'm not going to explain to you why, but I need you to really understand about how powerful this
А как
is.
это на русском far the way?
Get yourself out of the way of the information. I'll explain it to you. You'll understand it as we're going. If you don't, and I appreciate the question, thank you, but I really want you to think about it like this. I'm gonna say stuff that may not necessarily like ring a bell right away, but as I go into details, it'll all unravel and make sense. So imagine you're coming to a magic, what do you call it? Tablecloth, Scottish nice cover, what, you know what I'm talking about, right? Скатерть, да? Скатерть самобранка, like this is it. But you have to first, has to unravel for all the stuff to come up on the table. So just kind of, just hang out with me, and I promise you it'll make sense. So what do I mean by getting yourself out of the way? Everything is predicated on how your business would duplicate. And if you get in the way of the information, which means if you say too many things, you will turn off a potential, you know, a prospect, right? We can take prospects and like we can say, this guy is an old network marketer. He used to do really well with this particular company, or he stayed like 3 or 4 years in one company. That's a long time to stay in a network marketing business, and he could be really great here. But your approach to this person will dictate everything about what he thinks about you, the system, and the business. And everything here is strictly predicated on a system. And I'm going to teach you this system tonight. And it's very simple. Rule number one: you have to get yourself out of the way. And that means that you're not the company. You're not the spokesperson. You're not the deliverer of information. Is this making sense so far? You're none of those things. Here's who you really are. You're an inviter and a pointer. The only thing you're going to do is you're going to invite and point, and that's it. And if you understand why this is so powerful, I'll explain it to you why. And after that, if you understand this, you will have significantly more success with every person you speak to, because you'll be following a system that's proven to work. So ACN, like whenever you get to um, a certain, I guess, a certain position within the company, right? You kind of have the 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 ability to have you kind of know the information, right? You know the compensation plan, you know the services, right? You know all these, you know all the things about the business, but you can't talk about them to a prospect. You can talk about them once it's someone else's prospect because you're going to be the person edified who's going to share the information because they're going to point to you. And I really need you to get this. This is so important and this is so crucial because without duplication, this business doesn't work. And I'm going to give you examples of why your prospects or people that you've even signed up are not doing this business. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're not doing it. So watch, I'm going to give you an example about one of my prospects or one of my business partners. He's in the business. He kind of gets the system, and I've been trying to train him on this duplication and then getting yourself out of the way. Okay. And again, what I mean by getting yourself out of the way, don't explain the business. Don't talk about services. Remember, we're talking about team building. We're not talking about customers, right? When you're talking about customers, you have to be a professional. You have to know everything about the service, how it works, how to sign up, how to do customer service, and the rest of it, right? That's when we're getting customers. But we're only talking about team building right now. We're only talking about potential prospects that you're going to talk to help them get in the company, in your team, and sponsor them as business partners. Is that okay with everybody? You guys understand what I'm talking about? All right, really, really important. Okay, good. So we're not going to talk about customers. So we're only talking about prospects. We're only talking about people that we want in our business. So this individual is in the business and he's calling people and he's inviting them. And here's what's happening like for the last couple of months. He's got a couple of guys in his mind, right, that he thinks would be really good for this business, right? And what he's doing is he's approaching them as, hey, there's something I want you to take a look at. Someone's going to say, well, I'm really busy right now. Somebody else, here's something I want you to look at. Here's this, here's that. And they say, well, what is it about? And it's like, well, let's get together and let's talk. So what's happening is that he is kind of, trying to get an idea of whether this person would be interested. And once some people that he's spoken to, uh, present themselves in a way where they are interested, right? Once they are piqued, once their interest is piqued, they say, okay, can you tell me a little more? So what ends up happening is like, well, it's, it deals with this, and that. And then, what ends up happening is they'll say, okay, great, let's talk next time. And then he tries to get him back in contact with them. Well, when can we get together? Well, when can we get together? Well, when can we get together? So watch this. Ready? If I am the prospect and this guy is almost, I don't want to say harassing, but he's kind of annoying me to look at this information. You guys paying attention? I feel like he's kind of annoying. He's kind of like, oh, when are you going to come and look? I feel if I'm going to become a part of this business subconsciously, I already think that I'm going to have to do the same thing to other people to get them to look at the information. Is everybody with me so far? Guys, this is so important. I cannot stress this. This is why Eric Worre in his book showcases the proper way to invite. Where you're not belligerent, you're not constantly harassing people, where you're not in a place where people feel like they have to run away, even if they are interested. So watch this really, really, really closely, guys. the way that I'm going to prospect, my actions on their own, right? My actions themselves will dictate the way that my prospect is going to think about my opportunity. And what's going to happen in their mind is that subconsciously, even without knowing it, and then eventually they're going to start thinking to themselves, is this what I'm going to have to do? And if that's what I'm going to have to do, I don't want to do that. I don't want to bother people when they're at work. I don't want to get on their case to watch something that they don't have time to watch. And then when you start to realize that all of these things that we're doing to a person that's never seen this before, all of those things will be duplicated through that person. And they're going to do what you're doing. Okay? So, number one, everything that you're going to say to a potential prospect, they're going to think they're going to have to say that to someone else to grow their business. Does that make sense so far? Right? So if I'm coming to you and I said, hey, listen, there's something I really want you to take a look at. I know you've been struggling, right? This is like direct approach, and I know this person for a long time. This is somebody who trusts me. This is somebody who knows me. And when I come and say that, it's coming from the heart, and they know that, right? It's called direct approach. And I have a little bit of influence over this individual, which means they have some respect for me. So my way of inviting that person would be through directly approaching them. And that means that I'm going to invite them directly to look at the information because I believe that they could have some success here. Is that fair with everybody? Does that make sense? So I just need you to understand that this particular approach doesn't work for everyone. So if they're going to think, okay, who do I know who looks up to me in some ways? Who do I know that's, this is my prospect thinking now, right? Because I'm directly inviting him to look at the information. So he's going to think, okay, he invited me like this. That's how I have to invite before they learn anything, before they learn the different approaches. And there are just a few, there's not that many, but they're important to learn right away. Like if I was to give you the keys to a Ferrari, but you've never ever driven before, I have to give you some lessons and I have to give you a little bit of training of what it means and what all those things are in the car so you can have a little bit of fun, right? And you don't wreck the car. If I just sit you inside the car and give you the keys, there's no more Ferrari and hopefully you're still alive, right? So we have to be very careful. And guys, this is how we kill prospects. This is how we kill them. And I mean that like, not literally, but like this is how we take away the value of the opportunity from them if we're not doing this correctly. So I just want you to kind of be very present right now and stay with me because once I'm done with this, you're going to have everything that you need to truly learn and know how to invite. And once you do that, and once you get yourself out of the way, that's going to give you all the necessary ammunition for you to get out there and really build a huge business. Guys, you're not going to believe the amount of people are going to look at this. And you never have to ever run after them. And you're never going to need to harass them. You're never going to need to beg them. And you're never going to need to do any of those things. Okay? So here's what's really interesting. That and let's say I'm the prospect and somebody directly invited me and I respect this individual like Renata invited me. I have a lot of respect for Renata because I know she does very well at her job, okay, when she introduced this to me. And then when I found out that she left her job because she's doing this, I was like, you're kidding. And this was the only business she knew. So I'm explaining to you how I'm thinking to myself, right? If Renata invited me like this, and I have respect for Renata, you know, as someone that's successful, and then I look and she's doing this business and she's having success, I'm like, okay, something's got to be there that could be interesting. Does that make right? Does that make sense? Like that's my thinking process. So I need to look at this information. Whether I'm interested or not is irrelevant. But because I have respect for Renata and she's doing something having success in such a short time, that just piques my curiosity because I want to know what it is. Okay. So I came and I looked at the information and I said, this is not for me. I'm not interested. I don't want to do a business like this, etc. And then we had these different conversations, and that's why I got involved. But that's the next step. But all I want you to do is think about it like this. If all I'm asking you is, look, just because of the relationship that we have together, and this is a different type of approach, but it's also somewhat direct, is, and then there's, and like there's so many steps to the invitation, but generally I would say if there was something that you could do on a part-time that would give you a little bit of financial relief, would that interest you? Okay. And if the person said, yeah, whatever, what do you have in mind? And you said, hey, I know something, there's an individual who's expanding a business, and this is what I mean by getting yourself out of the way. I'm not explaining the business. Do I know how to explain the business, everybody? Is everybody aware that I can explain this business? That's a question. That's a real question. Yeah? Okay. I would never, ever talk about the business to any of my prospects because that's not the system. See, if I tell them everything about the business and I just met this individual, that means that in order for that person to have any success, they have to be as good as I am. Does that make sense to you guys? Now imagine if that never had to worry you, or if that never even entered your prospect's mind. Because here's what you're going to do. You're not going to talk about the business. You're going to get yourself out of the way, and you're going to allow them to look at the information that's not coming through you. So what? You see this ACN logo on my screen? Okay, watch this. Can you see it? Can you see it now? Can you see the ACN logo behind me? Okay, do you know why? Somebody unmute and tell me why.
Because
You
you
don't
close
want
it.
them to do their own research.
Tell me why you can't see the logo behind my head.
Because you're blocking it.
Yes. What does that mean? It means that I'm in the way. I am in the way of you seeing the information. The only way that you're going to see the information is if I do this. What am I doing right now?
Showing the pointing.
I'm pointing. It's the only thing you need to learn how to do. You have to learn how to point to the information so the person looking at it isn't looking at the information through you. They're looking at the information and you're not in the way. So we always say you gotta get yourself out of the way. That's a law here. You can't mess this up. It completely destroys the system of duplication. And that's the only thing that you're interested in. It doesn't matter what works in this business. It only matters what duplicates. You can be a fantastic salesman and you can be the most amazing recruiter in the world. You will not grow a team because there aren't that many people that are good at sales and good at recruiting. Which means your chances of finding someone that's as good as you are very, very, very small. So salespeople have a hard time in this business. Do you know why they have a hard time in this business recruiting? Because they're looking for someone like them. Instead of using the system, get yourself out of the way, just point to the information. Hey, great, what's the business about? That's a really great question. Let me introduce you to someone. Let me send you a link to the information. You get to see it exactly how it's supposed to look. Let me show you this magazine that that I have that you can look at. It's a success magazine from whatever year. Okay, let me show you this. You see these guys? You see this lady here? You see this is our headquarters, right? Notice the difference. You see, I'm pointing to this, which means it's not here. I'm not explaining the business. I'm just pointing here. This guy, he's a co-founder. Now watch what happens in your prospect's mind. As they're sitting there and looking at this, they're seeing one thing. You're not explaining the business. The only thing you're doing is you're directing them to the information. That is what you need to learn how to do. Direct them in the direction, point them in the direction of information. And guess what? Guess who can do that? Guess who can do that?
Everyone.
Exactly. Exactly. You see how amazing this is? It's mind boggling that we haven't gotten here yet because everyone messes this up. Because the second they get a big head or they know what to do, and I'm guilty, we mess this up for other people because they don't think they can be as good as us. Can you imagine someone that's never done public speaking, someone that's never done sponsoring, someone that doesn't really know much about network marketing, and I go there and I say, hey, listen, there's a great business, here's how it works. And they're sitting there looking at me, wow, that's so amazing. So in order for me to do it, I have to be as good as you. Crap, I can't do that. I guess it's not for me.
Exactly what I've heard. Exactly, word
See,
by word.
you know, so imagine if you can just take a little bit of this and tweak it and say, you know what? I think there might be something that you could really get on board with, that you could really love, because I think that this could potentially be a great way for you to make some money. Let me introduce you to Renata. Let me introduce you to this person that I'm working with. So, Tatiana, I just want to point out to you the reason why we put that script together for you is so it's duplicatable. It's so important that it's duplicatable because everyone can learn it. And I'm going to tell you another reason why the things that I said, the four things that are in that edification, are so important for everyone to say, and why I'm going to ask all of you on this call tonight, if you're gonna do any type of an introduction, you're gonna need to write your testimonial. It cannot be more than 60 to 90 seconds, and you're gonna write it out and you're gonna say it in your best voice, record it to yourself back, and you gotta make sure that's within that time frame. And then you're gonna send it to me and Renata. Okay, and then we're gonna adjust some things. I'm gonna give you the format. Don't worry, it's very simple, but you're gonna need to put that together. And once we go through it together with you, and once we, I don't want to say approve, it's not really something that we need to approve. but
Approve.
just so it's in the right realm. Yes, Layla, 1 second, honey. You can ask a question. Once in the right area of where we want it to be, we're gonna get back to you and say, this is great. Now go and learn it. And that's the only thing I want you to say during an introduction, or if we're gonna call you out for testimonial. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, leave it to us. We're gonna be, and you're gonna be us eventually. You're gonna be doing presentations, you're gonna be doing trainings. Our words will become your words, and your words are gonna become your team's words, and you're gonna reuse all of this stuff and rehash it to teach your system because and teach your team because it's 100% duplicatable. Okay, this is the name of the game: duplication. Okay. So I'm going to get back to the very, very beginning of my conversation with you guys. And that's with this individual, right? And all I'm asking you guys to do, if you have a person in your team who is brand new, who got involved in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, okay, I want you to go back to them. And I want you to sit down with them for 30 minutes and either show them this video so they understand it or explain it to them so they understand what they have to do. And then I'm going to upload the invitation script from Eric Worre, and you need to learn it. That is a skill set that you're going to have to learn. You're going to need to learn how to invite someone without being annoying, without begging, without putting too much pressure on somebody, without having to, constantly nag them, without having to constantly be on top of them. None of that stuff is important because you're going to act as a professional. We want you to be a professional in this business. The only time when people will start taking you seriously is when you're acting like a pro. And 99% of the people in network marketing are amateurs. They're amateurs. Even the people that have achieved significant financial success in this business, they're still amateurs because they could have had that success if they understood these principles significantly sooner because of their work ethic, and they would be 10 times more successful at this point. And I'm telling you, the people that don't understand this, I don't want to curse, but they F this up so much for all great prospects, for great people, for people that truly want something in their life, but they mess it up so bad and they scare the crap out of these people because they feel like they're going to have to go out there and do all this stuff and they don't want to do it. They have their own life. They have their own crap to take care of. They have their families. They have to put food on their table. That's what's on their mind. You can't come there and say, hey, listen, what are you dreaming about tomorrow? What's your dream, right? Like, yeah, we get it. I understand. It's important to know why people would do something. It's important to connect all the stuff. After you've connected and after those things have already transpired, I really want you to meet someone that I just recently started working with. She's super successful here. She's got 100% of the information. I'm telling you, she's one of the times that I've hung out with this person, I had the greatest time. She's so much fun. And you know why I love her so much? And I love this, and I think this could be so great for you, is because she has a heart of gold, because she is truly a person that cares. So what I did there is I just took care of 4 personality traits of every individual on the planet. So if the only thing that you care about is making money, and you heard she's super successful in this business, that's all you need to hear. Everything else is irrelevant. It just goes right through your ear. In one, out the other. If you're an urchin, or if you're someone that's truly looking for like really detail oriented, someone who reads all the little fine print and the tiny letters and all of the products and services, that's you, Tatiana, that's me too. Okay. When I say she has 100% of the information, you got your wish. That's all you need. Because all I'm looking for is 100% of the information. I can care less what the amount of money I'm going to make here. I know there's great potential. I get it. Not interested in that. I want to know how it works, why it works, who did this, why they do it this way and not that way. Like, that's me. And those are the people that are highly detail-oriented individuals. Typically, musicians are very, very much like that. A lot of people that are artists, because they're very, very, they're very particular, meticulous about everything that they're doing. Singers, music, instrumentalists, whatever, CPAs, architects, paint, whatever, right? Like, these are the people that need that 100% of the information. They won't move without it. Just how our mind, our brain is set up. Can't make it, you can't help it. Okay, then I say she's so much fun to be with. This is for the Dolphins. These are the people that all they care about is having fun. They don't care about helping people. They may, but they typically don't. They don't care about money. They can care less about information. They look at something, they like it, they sign away their life. They have no idea what they just signed. As long as they're in the club having fun, it's all that matters to them. And people, when someone walks in the room and the party starts, those are the types of people I'm talking about. Right? These are the Dolphins, the ones that want to have a lot of fun. And when I tell you that this person has a heart of gold and she loves to help people have success, or she loves to help people wherever they are, then we're going to take care of the whale personality. And those are the people that just want to help the world. They don't know how to do it. They're clueless about what to do, but all they want to do is help. They help people cross the street. They hold the door open. They give all the food away. They give this. They give that away. Okay. So in that little introduction and edification, I took care of the 4 personalities that everyone has. Typically 2 dominant, but they have all 4. But either 1 or 2 are dominant. And I made sure that whoever is on this call tonight, okay, especially if you're brand new, there's no new people, but I'm saying if that person is new, they have 1 or 2 personalities that'll dominate, and they're gonna hear, oh, 100% information and successful. I love it. That's somebody who's an urchin and a shark, right? Like, they want money and they need details. Okay, or she loves to have fun. She loves to have people. Oh, great, dolphin and whale. Perfect. That's me. I love having fun. I love to help people. I'm in. She loves to help people and she's fun to be with. Sign me up. So that's why the intro is so important. Edification is so important. When we say, guys, if you learn the system, you're going to have a lot of success with this business. And I was like, a system? What's a system? You mean getting 3 customers, 5 customers to get $200 and then residual? That's not the system. That's compensation. I'm talking about really learning the system, how to invite, understand duplication, get yourself out of the way, stop talking about the business, point, introduce someone, okay, share a video, read from a magazine, okay, or from a publication, or show them something on YouTube, get them to meet someone, okay? This is your role from now until SVP, and it doesn't stop at SVP. We don't talk about the business. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible, you guys. At any position, we never talk about the business to our prospects. Now, Tatiana, if I'm in your team, Janice, if I'm in your team, Cardell, if I'm in your team, and I meet someone, I say, you know what? I want to introduce you to someone who's actually leading the expansion in this business, in this area right now. She's super successful. She's got all the information. She's 100%. She's got, she's just super, super fun. I'm telling you, she loves to help people. This is the person that you need to have a conversation with, and they'll tell you anything you need to know about what I think would be a great way for you to make some extra money. Would you be interested in having that conversation for 3 seconds, for 10 seconds, for 30 seconds, for a minute? You see, anyone can do that. Anyone. And if I'm having, if I'm the prospect that I'm speaking to, if Renata is piquing my interest, and she says to me, I want you to meet this really, really like go-getter, super successful entrepreneur, super fun, super talented, super successful individual with a great heart and great fun. Tatiana, I want you to meet this person. Janice, I want you to meet this person. Janice, she's leading an expansion in this company. She has all the information that you need. I'm telling you, you need to get on a call with her. You see, anyone can do that. So everything you're doing with your prospects, every word you say to them, every action that you portray upon them, they think they're going to have to do the same thing. It's like they're in training without even being in the company. They're already being groomed into doing something, and subconsciously that's what they think. But if I can learn how to invite and how to edify and how to get them to look at something, how to get them to, meet someone, how to invite them to a 2-on-1 where I'm out of the way and I just introduce Renata or Tatiana or Manny or Terry or Cardell or anybody else, and they're going to be the person that I edify, then they can say, then they can talk, then they can do the presentation, then they can be the expert. Only then. But the person that's recruiting, the person that's sponsoring, the person that's piquing the interest can never, ever, ever talk about the business. Now, what if I'm inviting someone and I'm going to introduce them to Renata, but I'm doing the presentation? Let's say it's Sunday night, right? Manny's doing the presentation Sunday night. What are you going to do? Edify yourself, Manny? Oh, you got to meet this guy. He's handsome. He's an Uber driver, just like me, right? You're not going to do that, right? So what you're going to do is you're gonna you're gonna invite to meet Renata or to meet Tatiana or to meet someone else, and then they're going to be super, super, super excited about seeing you do the presentation. But guess what? At that point, here's what they know they can do. They can invite someone to the event, which is all you did. They're not going to be afraid of saying, oh, wow, I have to invite and present. No, that's not the way it's going to go. When you invite them and they come, and then you introduce them to Renata, you introduce them to Tatiana, you introduce them to Terry, you introduce them to Janice. And give me 1 second, I'm sorry. So they'll know that they can duplicate that. And if they can duplicate it, it's so easy. Your goal, our goal, every single person in this company, our goal is to make it as simple as possible for anyone to do this. And if you guys understand that every word you say, every action you take, and um, every gesture that you impose upon your prospect will be duplicated, will eventually that person will think that they'll need to be as good as you, and then they're not going to get in. They're not going to want to hear the information. They're not going to be interested in the business. My goal is to find someone. I'm telling you, I can't. It's like until people realize how powerful this is, they're they're roaming around in the woods by themselves, knocking at trees and asking them to come and look at the information. It's like when you knock on wood, it's just not gonna sound very nice. You got to find a guitar or violin and pluck the string because that's crafted. So when we have these crafted individuals that are already good at something, they're good employees. They might run a small business. They might be looking for something. If we know how to properly invite them and get ourselves out of the way of the information and just point and say, this is the information, not me. You don't have to be like me. You see what I'm doing? All I'm doing is I just want you to look. Well, why don't you explain it to me? No, I can't explain it to you. I want to introduce you to someone who can explain it, number one, better than I can. And number two, if you decide that this is something you might want to do, I don't want you to worry about explaining it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want you to have to worry about, well, how do I know all these things? You don't have to know anything. You just have to know how to get the person to look at the information, get them to commit to look, and all these different things. And that's going to be in the training that I'm going to send you in the WhatsApp. And you guys get to look at that information, listen to it, write things down, make notes, take notes, create your own scripts, and then go out there and make the calls. Go out there and pick some people. Go out there and have conversations. Go out there and connect. All business is conversations. All of it. You can't do business with someone you don't like. No one will do business with anyone they don't like. And we learned this from the very, very beginning. Renata, from Mr. Byron Nelson. First, they have to like you, then they have to trust you. And only then they'll do business with you. Out of those two things, it's not going to happen. First, they have to like you, then they have to trust you. Do you know that? Let me tell you what happens. We actually invite people properly into this business that we peaked on the street or in a supermarket or whatever. Okay. Here's the biggest obstacle here. They come, they look, they love it, and then they disappear. Do you know why they disappear? You guys know why? Because they don't know you. There's no trust. I don't know who you are. I love the business, but I don't know you. The percent of people that would get into this business that don't know you and don't trust you is practically non-existent. There's a small percentage, but it's very, very little. So how do you overcome that barrier? They come to the event, not interested in them signing up. I don't care if they sign up. That's not the goal. The goal is to get them to the next event so I can build some trust. If I can build some trust with a person I've never met before, and I say, hey, listen, why don't you come down next week? We're going to be here at 5 o'clock, same address. We'll meet you here. We'll talk more if you're interested, if it makes sense to you, whatever you want. Or if you want, I can send you some information. We can have a little conversation before then. Let's do that. Great. I don't want them to sign up. I need to build trust. If I build trust with that person and he knows that all he has to do is make an invitation and learn how to invite, and I'll tell them this and I'll tell them duplication, I'll talk to them about the system. And if I have that trust, The belief I can transfer very, very, very quickly. The belief is transferred quickly when there is trust. If there is no trust, you can't transfer belief. You can't make them believe what you believe. It doesn't work. Do you understand that it doesn't work? There has to be trust. There has to be a connection between two people for them to believe what you believe. And if there is no connection, if there's no trust, if there's no bridge, if we didn't build the bridge, how can you walk over the bridge? How can you get that belief over? You can't. So the only thing I want to do is create relationships and get people to trust me, because if they trust me, I know they'll like me because I'm a pretty likable guy, and most of you are pretty likable people and pretty handsome and beautiful. So the goal is, how do we get people to trust us so we can then transfer the belief? And that is, let me tell you what we're going to do here. Let me tell you where we're going to go with this company. Let me tell you where we're going to take this team. Let me tell you what level of financial independence you can achieve here with us, with our support, with where we're going to go, with how hard we're going to push, and all the things that we're going to create together. Let me show you where that's going to be. And you tell me one reason why you wouldn't want to do that with us. And some people will say, like 2 people out of 50 will run away, and then the other 48 are going to sign up and get started. And you don't want those 2 people initially in the first place because they're not going to do anything. So duplication, get yourself out of the way of the information. Don't talk about the business. That is not your job. Your job is to point to the information, introduce, invite, read, send the video, whatever other things we can do. We'll talk about that maybe in the next training or whatever. But I'll give you the resources that you need, that you can use to help other people see it. This is for people to understand that this is a system that is duplicatable. And that's the only way that this business works. Unless you're not interested in building a team and you're a great salesperson, or you have good sales skills, even though I don't really think you need any sales skills in this business. And the only thing you want to do is get out there and get 100 impact customers and build yourself a $5,000, $10,000 a month business. No problem. Go out and do that. I respect you. I think that's a tremendous way to do things. No problem. But if you truly want to leverage, if you want a team, if you're out there, if you're a leader, if you want some people to lead together, to get to the top ranks, to get, to walk the stage, to get out of there, and go to, Turks and Caicos next year, or if that's your goal, if that's who you are inside, then you can do that. Predicated on the fact that you can follow a simple system that we've set up, that's been set up, that works across any network marketing company. And that's why if you find anyone that's been in network marketing and you explain this to them truly, even though they understand the MLM, the compensation, and all these other things, they're going to love you because they never knew this was possible. The small percentage of people that are multimillionaires in this business, this is the concept. This is what they use. Okay. And then they go out there and then they find the people. They create relationships. They constantly make calls. They constantly, follow up with people. Hey, how have you been? What's new? What's going on? What are you up to? What's new in your life? How's the family? Let's get together. Let's have a beer. Let's watch a game. And I don't talk about the business. And then you're going to get people like, all they care about is go out there, talk to 1,000 people, ruin 850 of them, get 150 to come and look, 50 of them are going to love it. 25 are going to never show up, and they're going to get a couple of guys that are pretty good. You can do that too. People have done that. But here's the problem. The 850 people that thought you were a fake, that you were a schnorrer, that you were annoying, that they would never do it because they just don't do stuff like this. You stole this opportunity from them. You stole it from them. You took it away from them because you didn't know what you were doing. And instead of saying, hey, would you like to look at something that might give you some additional income? Would that interest you? Can I introduce you to someone who is expanding a business here? Inviting them properly, give them the right time, follow up with them, connect with them. Imagine if those 850 people, if 50% of them truly you build relationship with all of them, and 50% of them within the next year became your business partners, and the other 50 became your customers because of your professionalism and because of your respect for the industry and because of how properly you did things. Tell me what's better, 10, 15, 20 people from after talking to 1,000 in your first 30 days, or 400 business partners because they love you, because they trust you, because they love what you're doing, or they introduce you to other people if they didn't get involved themselves, and you have 400 customers. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, I get it. Some people do that. That's fine. If you're pressing, if you're going, hey, just make it that much more interesting, make it that much more exciting, make it that much more intriguing, make it that much more phenomenal to people that you're talking to. Get excited about your invitation, and people are going to come and look. Okay, but it's not some will, some won't next. It's not about the next. It's the some will and the some won't. You should be having a conversation with. You should be contacting them, because just because they're not ready today to look at it doesn't mean they won't be ready in 6 months. And let me tell you something: the people that aren't ready right now and ready in 6 months could be your top producers, but you're gonna give up on them because they are not interested, and you're gonna mess up. And everybody does that. Everybody messes up on this thing. They don't follow up. They don't go back 6 months later and say, hey, listen, what's happening in your life? Are things great? Are things working out well? I just wanted to connect. Want to let you know I'm still doing the thing I'm doing. I shared that with you before. I'm not saying this is the right time, but maybe it is for you. If it is, let me know. If not, no problem. I just want to keep in touch. Let's just stay friends. I hope everything is good. Blah, 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 blah. And then when their time comes, you're going to know that. I'm going to say, you know what? I think I'm ready to look at what you shared with me before. I think this is a good time right now. And that can be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Guys, I've been following up with one guy, with one of my general contractors that I used to work with in my kitchen design business for 11 years. He is still not in. But I guarantee you he's going to get in, because I'm following up with him all the time. I talk to him constantly. We do some little gigs here and there, and I'm always talking about ACN. But I never push. I never shove it in his face. I just tell him, I talk, hey, we just got a brand new service. We're doing impact, great commissions there, blah, blah, blah. Just want to let you know whenever you're ready, anytime, let's go to work. I'm telling you, with your contacts, you're going to blow this out of the water. You're going to blow it out of the sky. If you do the things that I'm asking you to do, if you're coachable, and if you can learn this process and learn this step by step and understand the protocol, you're going to kill it here. You will kill it. You will be on every chart, #1 for the first 6-12 months in this business. You will kill this business because of your network. But here's what you need to do. Don't worry about other people and their networks. You just do what we tell you to. Follow instructions, turn your brain off and just follow the system. And you're gonna have so much success. You don't know what to do with it. And that's a promise. Hey guys, I'm gonna stop it here.